PFC is basically a sectoral finance company and it's established in 1986 mainly to fund the growing Indian power sector. So across the verticals of power sector, generation, transmission, distribution, PFC has been a reliable lender both to state discoms as well as to private participants. Recently, in the last few years, there is also certain emphasis on some infra funding also, because a lot of infra funding is contingent on the power sector funding. For instance, urban mobility, a lot of new products that are coming in, be it electric bus or the metro. So it has a very heavy reliance on the power or the electromechanical component. So that is the overall goal of PFC. Besides the lending part, PFC is also a partner to Government of India in many of the Government of India programs, where we look at discom reforms, discom reliability, or their overall turnaround schemes. And so in the overall policy making matrix, PFC plays an important role to help Government of India serve the power sector better. So in power sector specifically, more towards the distribution sector, we realize that the importance of GIS or maps are growing every single year as our urban utility space is getting crowded with more and more utilities coming in, be it gas, water, power, and also the need of relaying these lines, because many of these lines were built for much smaller capacities. Now there's a capacity growth. So we realize that the urban strata has to be very carefully mapped so that when new work is taken, it does not impinge upon existing lines, does not really disturb something. So we believe, for distribution, urban spaces are very, very important to be mapped. Similarly, areas where there is a probability of disaster, be it coming from cyclone or be it from... So if we have you have an early warning and prediction system for the immediate, but for the long term also, if you have an understanding as to where the landfall of a cyclone will be, or what is an area in a mountain range where there is a substrata failure happening. So probably, the network load or the pole design, there are things that can be customized. So it can happen right from the planning phase. Many of these things cannot be overcome later in the project life, or retrofitting may not be possible. So the best thing is to have an understanding as to where, in what area the planning is happening, and to prepare likewise so that you are prepared for any kind of contingencies that happen in that particular area. This is one part. The other thing is obviously network planning. So we have a lot of new load centers that are coming up in terms of electric vehicles, buses. So by now we have a fair understanding as to where a new electric bus depot will come up, where a new load will come up. Data centers are there. These are major they have a huge requirement of power. So where is the upstream power coming from? So to decide the network geography, having the right electrical map of that network will be very useful, and that can be simulated using a load flow analysis so that our network planning is better and we do not waste infra where it does not require. At the same time, wherever there is an infra requirement, we do not have to wait for years to be able to provide the upstream infra in that area. We are using Esri technologies extensively in our SCADA ADMS systems. So the very core of SCADA, the control systems operate on the basis of the correct representation of the reality of electrical network. So that is where a lot of Esri network, Esri data basing and the software is also being used to provide the right input to the overall SCADA decision making, because these are highly specialized systems where you are not just getting information. So the first thing is obviously getting information. The right information is crucial. But in SCADA, for instance, or ADMS systems, you are not just getting informed, you are also controlling remotely. So when you control remotely, there cannot be any kind of accuracy challenges. So that is where we find a lot of application of Esri technology. Also, overall, state level asset monitoring, because asset mapping as well as asset health monitoring, both are reliant upon Esri technologies. So we are using more and more technology for understanding and informing our capital expenditure as well as the O&M functions that follow after that.